the grandson has real love on the grandfather, he shall certainly give a bit or even the whole biscuit. Pada Namaskaram Swami. It is 6 o'clock, so we shall start the prayer now. Okay. Okay, Swami.
श्री दत्त गणपतिं भजे, श्री दत्त गणपतिं भजे, श्री दत्त गणपतिं भजे, श्री दत्त गणपतिं भजे, श्री दत्त गणपतिं भजे। उन्मत्त नटन ताण्डवं मत्ते भवदन भासुरं चित्ताब्जबोध भास्करम् आयत्तयोगराजितं विद्वेष नित्यपूजितम् उत्तानपाणिमुद्रितं श्रीकृत्तिवास सत्सुतम् कैलासदृशदिनर्तनं भक्तान्तरङ्गवर्तनं पापौघपाशकर्तनं श्रीपार्वतीसुतं भजे, श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे, श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे, श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे, श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे। लम्बोदराङ्गताण्डवं मुद्राकराब्जपण्डितं सर्वाङ्गनागमण्डनं वन्दे विनायकं पतिं। धिं धिम्मितकिटमर्दलं भं भं निनादशङ्खकम् आनन्दनृत्यतत्परं ध्यायामि प्रमथनायकम्। आमोदकरमोदकं वेदान्तमतिमादकं दुष्कर्मफलसाधकं विघ्नेश्वरं गुरुं भजे, श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे, श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे, श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे, श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे। सृष्टिस्थितिलयकारणं मोक्षाख्यदैत्यमारणं संसारजलधितारणं स्तौमि प्रभो नरवारणं। पञ्चास्यमादिदैवतं देवऋषिभिः समर्चितम् आलोकगलितसञ्चितं विघ्नाधिनाथमाश्रये। श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे, श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे, श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे, श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे। लोकैकपरमवैभवं लोकेश्वरादिसम्भवम् आलोकपरिहृतोद्भवम् आलोकये परं भवम्। श्रीकृष्णकविनिवेदितैः श्लोकाख्यमोदकैरिमैः आनन्दगणपतिं पतिम् आराधयन्तु साधकाः। श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे, 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 श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे।
परब्रह्म समारंभां श्रीदत्तात्रेयमध्यमां श्रीदत्त स्वामी पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। सर्वविश्वन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल वेदशास्त्रायते ज्ञानसूर्यायते दत्तरूपायते श्रीवेणुगोपाल कृष्णाय वन्दनम् श्रीवेणुगोपाल कृष्णाय वन्दनम् श्रीवेणुगोपाल कृष्णाय वन्दनम् गुरुदत्त श्रीदत्त प्रभुदत्त पाहि माम् निधिदत्त हरिदत्त हरदत्त रक्ष माम् पाहि मां दत्त रक्ष मां दत्त स्वामी नमस्कारं स्वामी नमस्ते
నమస్కారం సార్.
नमस्ते
Pada Namaskaram, Swamiji.
नमस्ते
Swamiji, is it okay if we cover question answers today because the Radha Krishna Gita verses are not complete due to some issue?
okay
Okay, Swamiji. Thank you. With salutations at the lotus feet of Shri Datta Swami, let us begin the Satsanga with the question answers. I offer this dedication at the lotus feet of Shri Datta Swami. From you alone is all knowledge sublime, and everything that's great and fine. All the ignorance and error are but mine, for I am just a soul, and you, the goal divine. Trusting your compassion benign, my errant service I yet consign to those holy lotus feet of thine, Shri Datta Swami, my Sadguru trine. Last time we had covered a few questions, and we had begun with the set of questions asked by Srimati Chandaji. And this was the question that was being discussed last time. It was about the similarity or the difference between these two terms called Vairagya and Sannyasa. Are they more or less the same? And Swamiji said that yes, they are more or less the same. Both of these terms can either mean extreme attachment or they can mean extreme detachment. It is not that the terms Vairagya and Sannyasa only mean detachment, although very commonly in most languages, most Indian languages, most commonly the words Vairagya and Sannyasa only mean detachment. But that is not the case because the same terms can also mean attachment. They can mean extreme attachment. And Swamiji derived it grammatically to explain that both these senses are applicable. And the sense of extreme attachment is to be understood in the sense of extreme attachment or intense fascination towards God. Be it the case of the term, be it the case of the term viraga, which is essentially the same as vairagyam. Be it this viraga, the V can stand for intensity, and there it means the intense fascination towards God, which automatically means that there will not be any attachment or any fascination for the world. So those two, intense as well as non, the V can stand for intense as well as non. Similarly, when we analyze the word sannyasa, here the prefix is sam. Sam means proper or perfect or good. So that proper means what? Proper can mean either near or away. Nyasa means placement. That nyasa or placement can either be a placement that is near or it can be a placement that is away. If you place yourself near God, close to God, then it is a proper placement. If you place yourself away from the world, that is a proper placement. Our case is opposite. We place ourselves very close to the world, very close to our worldly bonds, and very far away from God. That is why we are not in the state of sannyasa. But the person who places himself or herself very close to God, that person actually has is so this is what we had discussed last time, and now what we are going to do is that we'll go through the second question. It is a continuation of that same question. So she says, so this is again by Srimati Chandaji. She says, as per your above definition of Vairagya in question 1, your statement below is not in line. Please explain. Now, the detailed question, Chandaji is saying, she's saying to Swamiji, your knowledge says, open quotes, you should never try for Vairagya. Instead, you should always try for Bhakti. Due to Bhakti, Vairagya should come. But due to Vairagya, Bhakti will not come. Close quotes. Now, here comes the contradiction. But as per your definition of Vairagya in question 1, your above statement is not in line. Please explain. So now Swami answers, the word Vairagya has both meanings, as we saw just now. One is excessive love for God, and the second is burning love for worldly bonds. Out of these two meanings, we have fixed the meaning of Vairagya in the second option, which is detachment from worldly bonds. Like I mentioned earlier, commonly in most Indian languages, and even from a cultural point of view, when people hear the word Vairagya or when they hear the word Sannyasa, they imagine a person who is very attached to God and totally detached from the world. Specifically, they imagine a person who is detached from the world. Whether that detachment is due to the love for God or not is not well understood by the public, but that Swamiji has clarified that true sannyasa or true vairagya is that state in which the person is detached from the world, not simply because the person is fond of detachment. It is because the person is so fond of God that the person is detached from worldly bonds. So that idea has been given only by Swamiji. Nevertheless, from a worldly point of view, from the common man's point of view, the word vairagya is fixed to mean detachment from worldly bonds. And Swami says, the word bhakti has only one option of meaning, which is excessive love for God. Keeping this context in our view, because generally the public takes only this context. So from this context, Swami is saying that I said that you should try for bhakti and not for vairagya. Of course, the word vairagya also means excessive love to God, and this meaning is not taken here. So if we follow the general convention of the public, where the word vairagya only means detachment from worldly bonds, and a separate word bhakti means the attachment to God, then in that case, we should not try for forcible detachment from worldly bonds. The spiritual effort is not an effort in which you forcibly try to cut your worldly bonds. That is not at all the worldly path, the spiritual path. Although that is what is assumed by the public. People feel that the spiritual path means you have to cut your worldly bonds. Wrong. The spiritual path is the path of forming a bond with God. It is a path of yoga. Yoga means union, attachment to God. Develop the attachment to God. A natural consequence of that is going to be the detachment from worldly bonds. But you are not trying for detaching from worldly bonds. There's no effort that is made in order to detach yourself from worldly bonds. The effort is only towards attaching yourself to God, joining with God, yoga, union. That is the spiritual path. So Swami says that you should try for bhakti. And how can bhakti be achieved? not by closing your eyes and taking some musical instrument and singing day and night. That is not how bhakti is achieved. Bhakti is achieved through knowledge, through precise, accurate, error-free spiritual knowledge containing the information about the divine qualities of God. You should know who is God. You should know what are his qualities. You should know so many other philosophical concepts which assist you in realizing that God is the greatest. Why God is called Brahman? Why not any other word? The word Brahman, Brahman means the greatest. The greatest means unqualified greatest, as in, usually the word greatest we use in a conditional way. This person is the greatest businessman. That person is the greatest singer. Another person is the greatest sports person. No, unconditionally greatest, meaning among all the greatests in every category, God is greater than all of them. He is greater than the greatest. He is the greatest among the group of all the greatests. So when we realize that he is the greatest, we realize that there is no one even remotely close to him. That is, his level of greatness is so high that nothing and nobody can even come anywhere near him. This is the realization which leads to bhakti. When you realize this, you become a fan of God. Becoming a fan of somebody is bhakti, bhakti towards that person. So if you've chosen the right goal, if you've chosen God as your goal, if you've developed bhakti, if you've realized his unconditional greatness above anyone and everything, then you will develop bhakti. So our entire focus should be through knowledge, attain the realization that he is the greatest, which will automatically lead to bhakti. Then that bhakti, which is in your mind, should be proven in practice, especially when God tests your bhakti. Once you pass the tests are of practical sacrifice, of practical service and sacrifice. If you can serve God instead of your worldly bonds, if you can sacrifice your hard-earned wealth instead of giving it to your worldly bonds, then it proves that your love for him, which is hidden, which is in your mind, which others cannot see, even sometimes you don't realize whether you truly love him or not, that gets proven through your service and sacrifice. So that is the spiritual path. The spiritual path is not about cutting worldly bonds. So it is not like, in your education, you have your 10th standard and your 12th standard, and then your graduation and post-graduation, like that. In the first stage, now I have cut my bond with my property. Then I have cut my bond with my liquid assets. Then I have next stage, like a postgraduate level. I have cut my bond with my spouse. And then next level, I have cut my bond with my child. So it is not the achievement is not cutting bonds. That is something that happens naturally. It should happen effortlessly. If you have to force yourself to do it, it is not genuine. It means you don't have the realization that God is the greatest. It means you don't have any spiritual knowledge. Without spiritual knowledge, your bhakti is baseless. There's no basis for bhakti. So this is the part that Swami is clarifying, that vairagya is commonly understood to be cutting of worldly bonds or detachment from worldly bonds, commonly. Although grammatically vairagya can stand for excessive attachment to God also. But from the general public's point of view, vairagya means detachment from worldly bonds. Bhakti means attachment to God. So we should try for bhakti and not for vairagya. Next question. Please explain how forgetting leads to the birth of many living beings. And this is based on a discourse of Swami. So she says, Swami, in another discourse of yours, I came across the following, open quotes. In the dresses of those devatas, by identifying one with those dresses, I forget myself. Because I forget myself, many living beings are born. Because of this forgetting only, I enjoy the pleasure of this universe drama. Because of the ignorance of forgetting myself, even the items of awareness and of inert nature are born. Close quotes. Chandaji says, please explain how forgetting leads to the birth of many living beings as well as inert items in nature. Swami replied, God is wearing a dress. The dress may be an inert item or a non-inert living being. In the world, there are two types of components, you could say, in the universe. There are inert items consisting of some forms of matter or energy. And then apart from the inert items are living beings. Living beings contain awareness. So awareness is the non-inert item. And then there are the inert items. So the God is wearing a dress, and the dress may be an inert item or a non-inert living being. For both types of dresses, God is the supporting basis. If God is aware of himself, there is no ignorance in God. This entire creation has been given reality by God, which means that it was not inherently and originally real. If God has to gift reality to it, it means it did not possess reality inherently. If something possesses reality inherently, you don't have to give or gift any reality to it. For example, if the wall was already white in color, I don't have to paint it white. If the wall was of some other color, then I need to paint it white. So since creation originally and inherently was unreal to God, in order to enjoy this creation, in order to be entertained by this creation, he granted reality to it. So that granting of reality to something that is unreal means treating something to be real when it is not actually so. That requires ignorance. I'll give you an example. In a movie, there is a certain actor and there is this life of that actor. There is the actor's father, the actor's mother, the actor's lover, and so on and so forth. All that is unreal. We know that it is unreal. We know that what is happening is not real life. It is happening on a set. It is happening in some studio. Nothing of that is real. You see that actor is living in a beautiful mansion, a very big, very posh mansion. You know that mansion is not an actual mansion. It is made out of some cardboard or some other light materials. It is not a real house. So, but during the movie, while watching the movie, you give reality to it. If you do not give reality to it, you are giving reality. It is not real, but you are giving reality to it so that you can enjoy the movie. That actor might be a very rich fellow in real life, but he might be playing the role of a beggar. Or that actor might be, eh, by profession, he's an actor, but in the movie, he's playing the role of a soldier. You know he is not a soldier. You know that that fellow doesn't have any military training, but you are assuming ignorance. You are deliberately covering yourself with ignorance so that you can enjoy the movie. So God also does the same. So what Swamiji is saying is that God is the supporting basis for both the inert components in the universe as well as the non-inert living beings. So he is the supporting basis. If God is aware of himself, there is no ignorance in God. Such a state of self-awareness, in such a state of self-awareness, this creation, which is made of the ignorance of God, disappears. If God removes all ignorance, meaning when he fixes himself in the realization, in the knowledge, in his self-knowledge, in God's self-knowledge, that I am the only real existent entity and everything other than me is non-existent, if he fixes himself in this self-knowledge, where is creation? Creation vanishes. He allows the non-existent creation to appear as if it is real, which means he, due to ignorance, grants reality to that which is not real. So here the term ignorance of God is used in somewhat of a liberal sense. We should not say that it is exactly like human beings being ignorant. Human beings are genuinely ignorant. But in the case of God, it is an assumed ignorance, which means it is not actual ignorance. It is something like that, something like ignorance. So, Swami says, in such a state of self-awareness, where he is fully aware of himself, that he alone is the reality and nothing other than him is real, in that state of self-awareness, this creation, which is made of the ignorance of God, disappears. If the ignorance disappears, its product, which is the dream, also disappears. So when the ignorance disappears, this entire creation disappears. If self-awareness appears, self-ignorance disappears. Self-awareness is nothing but self-knowledge. So when self-knowledge and self-ignorance are opposites of each other. So if there is full self-knowledge, there is no self-ignorance. Now here Swamiji gives an example which will help us understand when a human being is seeing a daydream, which means a daydream is a dream, or it's an imaginary world which you imagine while you're fully awake. You're sitting in your room, nicely relaxing in your chair. You're not sleeping. You are imagining a world. There's no such world really. Okay? It is an imaginary world that you are seeing. So that is called a daydream. It is an imaginary world that you are imagining in the awake state. You're fully awake. So even in the state of a daydream, you cannot enjoy your daydream without your self-ignorance. The aim of the daydream is only self-entertainment. This is the divine secret of creation of the world by God. So the creation of this entire universe by God can be somewhat understood by us through the example of a human being creating an imaginary world. It is somewhat like that. If that human being becomes fully conscious of himself, fully aware of himself, has full self-knowledge, the daydream vanishes. I am a very rich man and I'm sitting here in my dream and I'm imagining that I am a very poor person in some village and I am facing so much of troubles. People are harassing me and I am being forced to do some hard labor. Am I really a poor man? Am I really doing any hard labor? No, I'm not. Where am I? I'm comfortably sitting in my nice palatial house. I have many servants. If I become aware of myself that I'm a rich man, that I'm sitting in my own house, I have many servants. If I become aware of myself, where is the daydream? The dream disappears. The daydream disappears. So self-awareness and self-ignorance are opposites of each other. When one comes, the other goes. So why does one watch a daydream. Simply, you are just passing time. You want to feel entertained. That is why you're doing that. So similarly, God is also doing. Has created this creation without any need. He did not have any need. That is expressed by saying that he has created this world for entertainment. You should not say that God is such a uh, such a person who is in need of entertainment. He is not in need of anything. He does not have any needs. He does not lack anything. He is full and complete. But he wants to enjoy that 100% bliss that he already possesses in a different way. He he enjoys it in one way, he wants to enjoy it in another way. So what is the problem? Next one. Why did the Gopikas dance with brotherly feelings towards Lord Krishna? Detailed question here. In the Shri Radha Krishna Gita, you said, open quotes, these Gopikas are originally sages who had already burnt their lust in their penance fire. They are dancing with my illusory forms, feeling themselves as their sisters. So the Gopikas, the lady devotees are thinking that they are the sisters of the illusory Krishnas created by Lord Krishna, the illusory duplicate human beings resembling Lord Krishna who were dancing with each of the Gopikas. They were like any other human being. They were not incarnations of God. Their physical form resembled Lord Krishna very much, very closely. So each of the Gopikas was dancing with such an illusory Krishna who was not an incarnation. While they were dancing, were they dancing romantically? No. It appeared as if it is a romantic dance, but actually they had a non-romantic kind of love. They had a lot of love, but it was non-romantic. That is why Swamiji says that they had a feeling as if they were a sister of that illusory Krishna. Why sister? Because a sister is a person. Uh, the brother-sister love is also a very strong form of love, but it is a non-romantic kind of love. That is why. And so here, Swami says, here in this context, uh, I'm sorry. So they were dancing with my illusory forms, feeling themselves as their sisters. They are very pure souls. Who? The Gopikas. They are very pure souls. This is an internal drama in this world drama. Close quotes. The Swami is saying that already this entire world is a drama, because we just saw previously that it is an illusory world created by God for entertainment. A drama is entertainment, isn't it? It is not something real. Actors are not really going through that story. They are merely enacting that story for the purpose of entertainment. So the world is not inherently real. It is illusory from the point of view of God. So it is a drama. And now within that drama, the illusory Krishnas and the Gopikas are playing yet another drama. So it's a drama within a drama. What is the drama that they are playing? They are pretending as if they are dancing romantically, whereas they are not romantic partners of each other. So then Chandaji asks, here in this context, my question is, why are they dancing with brotherly feelings towards Lord Krishna? This brotherly feeling also is a worldly bond alone. Then what is the harm if they dance with the darling feeling towards their God? Please elaborate. I'm not able to absorb this. So if the female Gopikas are dancing with the illusory Krishnas, assuming that illusory Krishna to be like their brother, that brother-sister relationship is also a worldly relationship. Why not they consider him to be their lover and then dance with him romantically? That is also a worldly relationship. That is the question. So Swami replied, the Gopikas had miraculous powers from their past penance, born as ignorant cowherds. They knew the basic truth of the Rasa Keli dance, that it was meant for the sake of the souls of the upcoming Kali age. They knew that God Krishna is directing this drama for the sake of the souls of the coming Kali age. Already they had burnt their lust in the penance done by them in several previous births as sages. Hence, there was no possibility of lust in the case of the Gopikas towards God or to anybody. The Gopikas also knew that they were dancing with illusory duplicate forms of Krishna. They knew that the real Krishna was standing at the center along with Radha. So, because the Gopikas had burnt their lust in their previous births itself, there is no question of saying that the dance was romantic. If the dance had been romantic, then they would be like any ordinary person who has not burnt their lust. But these Gopikas were special, they were sages. They had done so much penance over innumerable past births in which they had completely burnt the feeling of lust. Having burnt the feeling of lust, when the feeling of lust itself is burnt, it does not matter whether that lust is towards the incarnation or towards any human being. They don't have lust at all. So why should they dance with Krishna or the duplicate forms of Krishna in a lustful manner when their lust has already been burnt? So it is quite absurd to say that they were dancing lustfully. They clearly knew because of their miraculous powers, they knew that it is a miraculous creation of Krishna, that although he is standing in the center with Radha, he is also pleasing us by creating duplicate forms of himself. And that those forms created are illusory, which means that Parabrahman does not exist in those duplicate forms. Those duplicate forms are not incarnations. There's only one incarnation in that entire Rasakeli dance, and that is the Krishna who is standing with Radha. That alone is the real Krishna, the incarnation Krishna. So Swami continues, he says, in such a situation, let me just check if I covered this. Moving ahead, in such a situation, they are beyond the feeling of any worldly bond. They are simply acting the feelings as per the drama directed by God Krishna. Since the sages have already burnt their strong lust by their penance, in the context of the dance of heavenly dancers before them, romantic lust is absent in them. If we go through the Puranas, we find that heavenly dancers, these apsaras, they tried to disturb the penance of these sages, but the sages did not budge. And in fact, in many cases, they even cursed those apsaras for trying to disturb them. They were not overcome by lust. They had already burnt that feeling of lust. You imagine when these extremely beautiful apsaras come, no ordinary human being will be able to resist. Ordinary human beings cannot even resist the advances of an ordinary woman. Ordinary men cannot resist the advances of an ordinary woman. And vice versa. Women cannot resist the advances of an ordinary man. But these apsaras are so beautiful, yet the sages were not at all impressed by their beauty, and instead they cursed them. So it clearly proves that they had overcome their lust. Hence, they had brotherly love towards the illusory Krishnas, since the illusory Krishnas were also their co-human beings. These Gopikas, they were sages, but they were human beings. The sages are also human beings. They are individual souls, then they are not God. God has not merged into them. So they were human beings, and these illusory Krishnas, these duplicate forms of Krishna, they were also human beings. They had awareness, they had individual awareness, and that individual awareness was enclosed in a human body. They had a physical body, the body had energy, and the bodies had brains and nervous systems, and the energy in the nervous system gave rise to awareness. In the awareness, there were the different qualities, exactly like any other human being. So that God who created all living beings, including us human beings, can he not create some extra human beings? He certainly can, because he's created this entire universe. So for the sake of that Rasakeli, he created some extra human beings, and he gave them the exact physical form as Krishna himself. So these sages realized that these illusory Krishnas, they are human beings. And so, being co-human beings or fellow human beings, they treated them as their brothers. Why? Because as per worldly manners of justice, one human being calls the other human being or calls other human beings as brother or sister if both souls are approximately of the same age. If someone is much elder to you, then you would call that person father or mother. If the person is almost your age, then you would call the person brother or sister, depending on the gender of that person. And nowadays, um, youngsters refer to each other as bro. So that is what they said. The Gopikas said, bro, to these duplicate Krishnas. The outside audience certainly sees the Rasakeli dance as a romantic dance, which is also necessary because the souls of Dushpravritti can only be uplifted through this act of illegal romantic attraction. That act of illegal romantic attraction is an Arthavada, it is a white lie. Even in a cinema shooting, the hero and the heroine are expected to act with internal detachment to the real romance that they are displaying outside. Of course, the present cinema shootings taking place in the Kali age might be quite different. So, what Swamiji says is that although the Gopikas and the duplicate Krishnas only had a brother-sister type of love, which means a non-romantic love, for the external audience, it appears to be romantic. And that is the whole purpose of that drama. That drama, which is a drama within a drama, was enacted under the instructions of Lord Krishna, following the instructions of Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna created those duplicate forms, and he was the director and producer of that drama within a drama. What was the purpose of that? The purpose was to give a message to the souls of Kali Yuga. What is the message that is to be given? The message that is to be given to the souls of Kali Yuga is, if you have a high amount of lust, if you have uncontrollable lust, please do not direct that lust towards worldly human beings. You have so much lust that you cannot remain satisfied with your married spouse. Please do not direct that extra lust towards someone who is not your married life partner. That is injustice. That is the path of dushpravritti. Instead, direct that illegitimate lust towards God. Instead of getting into a romantic relationship with someone other than your life partner, you can get into a romantic relationship with God. If you do that, you will be uplifted. You will be, in fact, you will be raised to the highest level. This is the message that is to be given. So the Gopikas are playing the role of the women of Kali Yuga who have uncontrollable lust. What are the Kali Yuga women supposed to do? As shown, as depicted in that divine drama, or following the depiction of that divine drama, the women of Kali Yuga, if they have uncontrollable lustful feelings, they should direct them towards God in human form rather than towards some illegitimate lover. If they direct it towards an illegitimate lover, they will be punished in hell. Avoiding that, they should instead direct it to God in human form. So they will, not only will they be spared of that punishment in hell, but they will also be uplifted to the highest position. This is the message that is to be conveyed to the people of Kali Yuga, to us. So the Gopikas are merely acting. They are actors. Even in movies, that is what happens. The director has a certain concept. He has a certain story. And he hires some top actors. And he tells the actors, see, this is the story and you are acting this role and the other person is acting that role. You are supposed to be lovers. So you please act as if you are lovers. So because they are very skilled actors, they act as if they are lovers. They may not be really, they are not lovers really. And in fact, the director is not expecting, in fact, the director is expecting that they don't get into a real romantic relationship. They are only supposed to act. And once the shooting of the movie is over, they have to collect their remuneration and go away. This is what the director is expecting. But of course, in Kali Yuga, we often find that actors who are acting as lovers of each other in a movie, they actually fall in love with each other. And for some time, until they fall in love with someone else. So that happens because all these souls, those actors, as well as ourselves, we are all people of Kali Yuga. But that is not what is expected. What is expected if you are a proper actor, if you're following the dharma of an actor, you are supposed to have internal detachment. Whatever be the role assigned to you, you should definitely fulfill the requirements of that role. But internally, you should not get carried away. That is the dharma of the true actor. Whether actors are able to do that or not is a separate question. Next question. So again, Chandaji is continuing. She asks, to whom is the shloka Sarvadharman Parityaj Mamekam Sharanam Vraja from the Gita applicable? Her detailed question is, you also revealed that Sarvadharman Parityaja from the Gita is a chocolate or something like an inducement, some temptation that is given for the initial stage of a soul who is in dushpravritti. For a soul who is on the sinful path, this Sarvadharman Parityaja is told in the initial stage. This is what Chandaji is claiming. Is it really so? So far, my understanding was that this statement is for devotees who are in the climax stage of nivritti, like the 12 past gopikas. Among the gopikas, there were only 12 gopikas who passed all the 3 tests of Lord Krishna. The tests of the bonds with their children, their wealth, and their spouses. The other gopikas they were only able to pass one of those tests, the test of the bond with the spouse. They failed in the test of their children and wealth. So the 12 gopikas are the past gopikas, the successful gopikas. They are called the Siddha gopikas. And the others who failed in the tests of wealth and children, those failed gopikas are called the Sadhaka gopikas. Sadhaka means they are still trying. They are still trying to succeed. They have not succeeded. Siddha gopikas. Siddha means successful. The succeeded gopikas and the trying gopikas. The two categories. So, Chandaji is saying that the term, or rather the verse, Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, or let me explain that verse. What Lord Krishna says towards the end of the Gita to Arjuna is that, "O Arjuna, you forget about all the dharmas, all the different kinds of duties that you have to do. You have certain duties as a warrior, as a father, as a husband, and so many other duties that you have to do. Whether it is ethical, whether this is ethical or that is ethical, you forget all those considerations. You just surrender to me completely. And whatever, upon surrendering, you just follow. Surrender means what? You do as I say. Surrender your will to me. Just surrender to me. Just do as I say. Whatever potential sin is there, I will take care of that. I will release you from the sin. If at all any sin comes out of your action, having surrendered to me, if you do some action which might be sinful, you don't worry about it because I will take care of everything. Aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. You don't worry about it. I will take care of all the sins. So this is the statement. Now, for whom is it? Whom is this statement applicable? Is it for a soul in dushpravritti, a person who is compulsively committing sins? Is Lord saying that to a person who is a sinner, that, "Oh sinner, you don't worry about facing the punishment for your sin. You simply surrender to me and I will exempt you from all the sins"? This is one case. The second case is the devotee is not a sinner. He is the climax, he or she is the climax devotee. And for the climax devotee, Lord Krishna is saying, you just surrender to me and I will take care of any sin that may come out of your action. Now, her question is whether it is for those 12 past gopikas who have passed all the tests of God, whether it is for them or is it for a soul from dushpravritti. In other words, is it for the students who fail in the class or is it for the topper students? So Chandaji says, in my view, the soul considered here must not be in dushpravritti at least. Even though God can make any impossible task possible, being the omnipotent one. Please remove this misunderstanding. I am really confused. So what she is saying is, if God is going to release or relieve these people from their sins, from the punishment of their sins, then these persons should not be pravritti souls. They should be, I'm sorry, they should not be dushpravritti souls. They should not be sinners. At the very least, they should not be sinners. They might be in the path of pravritti, or preferably they should be in the path of nivritti. For these good souls, pravritti souls also you can consider to be good souls. And nivritti are excellent souls. So if God excuses the sins of the good souls or the excellent souls, that is acceptable. But giving such an offer to the dushpravritti souls it does not seem appropriate. So she's confused over here. She is asking for a clarification. Swami replied, the shloka in the Bhagavad Gita can be applied to different contexts. This verse is applicable to both the dushpravritti devotee and the climax nivritti state devotee. For the dushpravritti devotee, the applied meaning is, open quotes, don't bother about your sins. Just surrender to me completely. I will uplift you and remove all your sins, which are the result of your illegal sexual affairs. Close quotes. This is what is told to the dushpravritti person, the person who is committing sins in worldly life due to excessive lust. To that person, the Lord is saying, don't bother about those sins. Just surrender to me. I will uplift you, remove all your sins. This means that the dushpravritti devotee is attracted to God based on his or her attitude of illegal lust, which is due to the arthavada or the white lie that illegal love for God is the climax nivritti. So this person, this dushpravritti sinner, is told that directing your lustful tendency towards God, meaning instead of making lustful advances towards an ordinary human being other than your spouse, instead of doing that, you redirect it towards God, and redirecting your lustful tendency towards God itself is the highest selfless love. That is called selfless love. This Madhura Bhakti, romantic love for God, romantic lust-filled love for God, itself is the highest love. That is the selfless love. That is what yields the highest fruit. This is an arthavada. It is told to the dushpravritti soul. So this arthavada is initially told, but it has a positive effect. Over a long period, if you observe that soul, it leads to reformation. So Swami is saying, slowly the devotee will understand the importance of justice and will leave injustice or sins. So that sinful tendency, the tendency to follow injustice, that will go away because the person has redirected the lustful feeling towards God. So the person, the lady devotee, she starts associating closely with God. She gets the opportunity to observe him closely. She learns the divine knowledge because the incarnation always speaks spiritual knowledge. She is able to absorb some concepts out of that spiritual knowledge, and she is also able to observe how he deals with various situations and various other human beings. His insistence on justice in everything that his followers do and in his own actions, that will be seen by this devotee. Then she will realize how important justice is to the incarnation. The incarnation loves justice and he hates injustice. This will be clear to her. Then after some time, then she will say, I should also leave this unjust tendency. Let me follow justice. I can make him happy that way. He'll be pleased with me. If I follow his instructions, if I follow his divine commandments, he will be happy. Let me do that. So gradually, the person will leave the unjust path. So what is the harm if that initial lie is told? That the romantic love towards the incarnation is the highest selfless love. If this white lie is told to the devotee, what is the harm? Over time, the devotee, that lady, she is going to change and she is going to develop a strong commitment to justice. So in view of that future reformation, the white lie told to the devotee is not wrong, and God does it. So the statement Sarva Dharman Parityajya told in that sense to the Dushpravritti devotee is absolutely fine. Now, what about the case of the climax devotee? To the climax devotee also, you can say the same statement. Swami says, the applied meaning for the climax devotee, climax nivritti devotee, is don't worry about your worldly bonds. See, for the Dushpravritti soul, it was said, don't worry about your sins. Here it is said, don't worry about your worldly bonds. Just surrender to me completely. I will uplift you and remove all your sins, which are the result of not doing your duties for your worldly bonds. For the statement of God, a million meanings can be derived and respectively applied to a million contexts. See how wonderful it is. For the Dushpravritti person who is committing sins, that person is violating justice. That person is violating dharma. So God says, leave that dharma. Sarva dharman parityajya. Leave that dharma. You are violating dharma. You are violating justice. Leave all considerations about justice and surrender to me. It is told in that sense. For the climax Nivrutti devotees, it is said, leave your worldly bonds. That person, this Nivrutti devotee is already, in order to be a Nivrutti devotee, you already must be a follower of Pravrutti. If you are a PhD student, should you not have a basic graduate degree? Should you not have a bachelor's degree first? Without a bachelor's degree, can you get an admission for a PhD program? No. So Pravrutti is already being followed by this person. Now this person is, let us say, this Nivrutti devotee is married, has a spouse, has children, has in-laws, has a job. So with each of these worldly bonds comes certain duties, certain responsibilities. If the person is so much in love with God, in this case, in the Nivrutti devotee's case, that love is a non-romantic love, mind you. If the Nivrutti devotee loves God to the climax extent, in a non-romantic way, the person is only going to serve and sacrifice to God. And what is inevitably going to happen is that the family members are going to get neglected. Some of the duties at the workplace also might get neglected. Neglecting any duty is a sin. For example, at your workplace, you are getting a salary. You have to work in return. If you don't work in return and simply claim the salary, it is a sin. If you have a child, you have a duty towards your child. If you don't fulfill that duty, it is a sin. So the the Nivrutti devotee usually follows all the rules of Pravrutti because that person does not have sinful tendencies. But in this case, what is told is, you can just surrender to me, you can surrender to the human incarnation of God. Swami is saying, you surrender to me. In surrendering to me, you may end up not fulfilling your worldly duties. So there is going to be a violation of dharma, but you disregard that violation of dharma. Sarva dharman parityajya. Disregarding the considerations of adharma, which result from non-performance of your duties, you just surrender to me. Because whatever sin is incurred in neglecting your duties, because you are involved in the service of God or sacrificing to God, that part he will take care of it. So I will uplift you and remove all your sins. Which sins? Actually, this person doesn't do any sins. But the sin will be incurred as a result of not doing your duties for your worldly bonds. That sin I will remove. So the same statement can be interpreted in different contexts for different people. Okay, it is 4 minutes past 7, so I'll hand over to Suryaji. Pada Namaskaram, Swamiji.
Namaste.
Namaskaram, Swami.
Namaste.
First, I will share the document. Just a minute. It's okay. So we are in the March 14, 2026 Satsanga, question answers. So we have covered the first question. The second question, this was asked by Srimati Chanda. As per your above definition of Vairagya in question 1, that is the previous one, your below statement is not in line. Please explain. A detailed question is, your knowledge says, that is Swami's knowledge, you should never try for Vairagya. Instead, you should always try for Bhakti. Due to Bhakti, Vairagya should come. But due to Vairagya, Bhakti will not come. This is the statement of Swami. Based on that, her question is, but as per your definition of Vairagya in question 1, your above statement is not going in line. Please explain. Swami replied, the word Vairagya has both meanings. One, excessive love for God, and two, burning love for worldly bonds. Out of these two meanings, we have fixed the meaning of Vairagya in the second option, which is detachment from worldly bonds. The word Bhakti has only one option of meaning, which is excessive love for God. Keeping this context in our view, because generally public takes only in this context, I said that you shall try for bhakti and not for vairagya. Of course, the word vairagya also means excessive love to God, and this meaning is not taken here. Oh, excellent. And her next question, please explain how forgetting leads to birth of many living beings. The detailed question is, Swami, in another discourse of yours, I came across the following. In the in the dresses of those devatas, by identifying one with those dresses, I forget myself. Because I forget myself, many living beings are born. Because of this forgetting only, I enjoy the pleasure of this universe drama. Because of the ignorance of forgetting myself, even the items of awareness and inert nature are born. Please explain how forgetting leads to birth of many living beings as well as inert nature items. Swami replied, God is wearing a dress. The dress may be an inert item or a non-inert living being. For both types of dresses, God is the supporting basis. If God is aware of himself, there is no ignorance in God. In such a state of self-awareness, this creation, which is made of the ignorance of God, disappears. If the ignorance disappears, its product, the dream, also disappears. If self-awareness appears, self-ignorance disappears. Even in the state of daydream, imagining an imaginary world in awake state, that is daydream. You cannot enjoy your daydream without your self-ignorance. The aim of the daydream is only self-entertainment. This is the divine secret of creation of the world by God. And her next question. Why did the Gopikas dance with brotherly feelings towards Lord Krishna? And the detailed question is, in Sri Radha Krishna Gita, you said these Gopikas are originally sages who already burnt their lust in their penance fire. They are dancing with my illusory forms, feeling themselves as their sisters. They are very pure souls. This is an internal drama in this world drama. Here, in this context, my question is, why are they dancing with brotherly feelings towards Lord Krishna? This brotherly feeling also is a worldly bond alone. Then what is the harm if they dance with the darling feeling towards their God? Please elaborate. I am not able to absorb this. Swami replied, the Gopikas had miraculous powers from their past penance, even though they were born as ignorant cowherds. They knew the basic truth of the Rasakeli dance, that it was meant for the sake of the souls of the upcoming Kali age. They knew that God Krishna is directing this drama for the sake of souls of coming Kali age. Already they had burnt their lust in the penance done by them in several previous births as sages. Hence, there was no possibility of lust in the case of the Gopikas towards God or to anybody. The Gopikas also knew that they were dancing with illusory duplicate forms of Krishna. They knew that the real Krishna was standing at the center along with Radha. In such a situation, they are beyond the feeling of any worldly bond. They are simply acting the feelings as per the drama directed by God Krishna. Since the sages have already burnt their strong lust by their penance in the context of the dance of heavenly dancers before them, romantic lust is absent in them. Hence, they had brotherly love towards the illusory Krishnas, since the illusory Krishnas were also their co-human beings. As per the worldly manners of justice, one human being calls other human beings as a brother or sister. If both souls are approximately of the same age, the outside
Sir,
audience, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, the screen is not changing. Is the problem here or for others also? Now it
And
is changed.
now it has changed.
Yes, sir,
It
changing.
is changed. Okay.
Okay. Okay. As per the worldly manners of justice, one human being calls other human beings as brother or sister if both souls are approximately of the same age. The outside audience certainly sees the Rasakeli dance as a romantic dance, which is also necessary because the souls of Dushpravrutti can only be uplifted through this act of illegal romantic attraction, which is Ardhavada or white lie. Even in a cinema shooting, the hero and heroine are expected to act with a internal detachment to real romance. Of course, the present cinema shootings taking place in the Kali age might be quite different. And her next question: to whom is the sloka Sarvadharman Parityajya from the Gita applicable? And the detailed question is: you also uh, uh, revealed that Sarvadharman Parityajya from Gita is a chocolate for the initial stage for a soul who is in Dushpravritti. Is it really so? So far, my understanding was that this statement is for devotees who are in climax stage of nivritti, like the 12 past gopikas. In my view, the soul considered here must not be in Dushpravritti at least, even though God can make any impossible task possible, being the omnipotent one. Please remove this misunderstanding. I am really confused. This question is by Srimati Chanda. Swami replied, the sloka in the Bhagavad Gita can be applied to different contexts. This verse is applicable to both the Dushpravritti devotee and the climax Nivritti state devotee. For the Dushpravritti devotee, the applied meaning is don't bother about sins. Just surrender to me completely. I will uplift you and remove all your sins, which are the result of your illegal sexual affairs. This is for the Dushpravritti devotee. This means that the Dushpravritti devotee is attracted to God based on his or her attitude of illegal lust, which is due to the Ardhavada, that is white lie, that illegal love for God is the climax nivritti, that is selfless love for God. Slowly, the devotee will understand the importance of justice and will leave injustice for sins. The applied meaning for climax nivritti devotee is don't worry about your worldly bonds. Just surrender to me completely. I will uplift you and remove all your sins, which are the result of not doing your duties for your worldly bonds. For the statement of God, a million meanings can be derived and respectively applied to a million contexts. So excellent. So now we will read some question answers. So we were going through the set of question answers on now in November. I hope my screen is visible. So we have covered the first 6 questions, and in the 6th question also A part is covered, and now we'll go with the B part. These are all questions by Shri Kishore Ram. The question is, how could the ancient sages burn their lust while they were still in male bodies? And the detailed question is it not possible for a man to completely remove ego and lust while in a male body? If not, how were the ancient sages able to burn their lust while they were still in male bodies? Swami replied, the lust can be burnt in penance. Penance or tapas means thinking about God only without even a small break. The ego is always based on the basic ego, which is the identification of self. The basic ego is always wound up with the masculine ego, which disappears only when the masculine body disappears. And the next question is also by him. Why does the Veda describe souls as wives of God when he does not have feelings of a husband towards the souls? His detailed question is, Padanamaskaram Swamiji, in the Veda, it is mentioned Striya Satihi, which means all souls are considered as wives of God. But you recently explained that God does not have feelings of a husband towards the souls, and that he is the father of all souls in creation. In that case, why does the Veda describe souls as wives of God? Wouldn't calling them children of God that it will be more accurate? At your divine lotus feet, Kishore Ram. Swami replied, the son or daughter is diverted from love to father as soon as the marriage is over. Hence, service mingled with love exists in the case of a couple. Service with respect exists in the case of father. Love is a far greater force than respect. Here, wife represents such a love mixed service and not any sexual relationship with God. Similarly, when the soul is told as a female, it means that the soul is without masculine ego before God. This is told in the view of qualities and service, and not in the view of female gender and sexual relationship. Oh, excellent. And his next question. Does Ekabhakti means devotion on single divine form is the highest? Swami, is a detailed question is, Swami, Ekabhakti is highest, as said in the Gita. Does this mean that the devotion on single divine form is the highest? Swami replied, Ekabhakti means single pointed devotion on God, diverting all your fascinations from all the items of the world as a single fascination to God. This means that you are concentrating on God in all the 24 hours during the day. This is the right interpretation of the word Ekabhakti. If you say that the devotion on single form is the highest, this may lead to a wrong interpretation that even if you concentrate 23 hours and 50 minutes on the world and 10 minutes on single form of God, such a state is the highest. Of course, you can concentrate on single form of God also, but such concentration shall be throughout the 24 hours of a day. Hence, whether you concentrate on a single form or many forms of God is not the main point. The main point is whether you are concentrating on God in every second of time, leaving the worldly fascinations completely without giving even without giving even a second of time for those worldly fascinations or not. And his next question: how did Surpanakha lose lust during the penance to God Shiva? Swami replied, penance means constant thinking about God without allotting even a second of time for the world. Such a thinking of God is said to be penance by the Veda. Tadhi tapaha, tadhi tapaha. It includes studying the personality of God, discussing the knowledge about God that leads to serving and sacrificing in the mission of God. When such a strongest and continuous concentration about God results, all the worldly thoughts get smashed. Lust is also a single thought of mind. Due to this lust thought, the hormones become active and concentrate concentrate the lust thought more and more. If such a lust thought is not born at all, the hormones become inactive forever and lust cannot be generated. A thought about God can cut a thought about worldly fascination like a diamond cutting another diamond. Surpanakha started penance with the thought of lust only, but as the penance progressed, all her lust was burnt in her penance fire. Hence, when she was born as Kubja in the next birth, she never expressed any lust on God Krishna. She worshipped Krishna with sandal paste like an excellent devotee. God Krishna fulfilled her desire because God Shiva gave the boon. Of course, God Krishna also satisfied her with his illusory form created by him so that his celibacy is not disturbed. This is the usual procedure of God in such situations to encourage the devoted souls in sweet devotion. Kubja also was satisfied that she met with Krishna because the identity of real form of Krishna is always kept as a divine secret. The purpose of encouragement of the devotee is served, and at the same time, God Krishna remained as a perfect celibate, as told by God Brahma. The next question is by Srimati Lakshmi Lavanya. Is my understanding that lust belongs to body and love belongs to heart correct? Her detailed question is, Namaste Swami, you are saying love is different from lust. I understand lust belongs to the body and love belongs to heart. Swami replied, service by body also comes under love. Okay, excellent. The heart also can be related to lust if the heart is filled with romantic feelings. Love belongs to heart, but it is also expressed by the service with body and other practical actions. Lust belongs to body, but it can also be expressed by heart and feelings of mind. Oh, excellent. Next question is also by her. Which type of desires and thoughts comes under lust and love? Her detailed question is, you are saying aspiration free devotion is best, but before reaching that state, please explain towards God. A. Which type of desire and which type of desires and thoughts come under lust? And B. Which types of desires and thoughts come under love? And C. Do emotions towards God come under love or lust? Swami replied, love is a very broad word embracing all systems of the body in both theoretical and practical phases. Lust is a very narrow word and exists in both theoretical and practical phases. Love in pure state is related to God, in which only sacrifice and service to God exists from the side of the devotee without aspiring any fruit in return from God, including romance with God. Lust is a selfish state related to world in which the devotee aspires from God to fulfill her sexual desires. If that selfish aspiration is smashed, the lust also becomes pure love. The distinction is very deep. And her next question, whenever I meet a human incarnation, what should be my intention and how should my behavior be? And the detailed question is, you're also saying if any soul touches the human incarnation with lust, he will become illusory. Then please explain, whenever I meet human incarnation, what my intention and how my behavior should be. Whenever I am thinking there is a illusory human incarnation in front of me, my heart aches. Thank you, Swami. Swami replied, illusory means the world. Impure lust with selfish aspiration makes the God component of the human incarnation to disappear along with its medium, leaving a similar looking human being in its place. If selfish aspiration is absent and only the aspiration to please God without any trace of selfish pleasure exists, such a mental attitude is considered to be pure love. God likes to be with such devotees having pure love and also merges such souls within him in the upper world. Now we have another set of question answers on November 2nd, 2025. These questions are asked by Shri Hrishikesh. Can you please explain the significance of stars in an astrological analysis? His detailed question is, Dear Swami, one of my friend Sri Harsha has asked the following question. I request you to kindly enlighten us. First question, could you explain the significance of nakshatras in astrological analysis? Where we should use the nakshatras? Also, should we take into account the other planets like Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto? If not, could you clarify why these planets are typically excluded? At your divine lotus feet, Rishikesh. Swami replied, the star or nakshatra is used for two purposes. First, to calculate the leftover period of the corresponding planet after birth, and second, to find out the Tara Balam, that is strength of the star, when auspicious time, that is Muhurtam, is selected. The other planets are minor, having very negligible influence on the born soul. And the next question, could you please explain the significance of the below as per the traditional or Vedic calendar? The detailed question is, Dear Swami, one of my friends, Sriharsha, just sorry, sorry for the disturbance. And then I'll just read the question again. Could you please explain the significance of the below as per the traditional or Vedic calendar? And the detailed question is, Swami, one of my friend, Sriharsha, has asked the following question. I request you to kindly enlighten us. The detailed question is, could you explain the significance of the below as per the traditional or Vedic calendar? I request you to kindly explain their significance and practical applications. Specifically, I would like to understand when and where we should take these into consideration, such as during travel, ceremonies, or decision making. First is Yamaganda, second is Varjyam, third Rahu Kalam, fourth Gulika Kalam, fifth Durmuhurtam, at your divine lotus feet, Rishikesh. Swami replied, a specific region follows a specific item only among the 5 items mentioned by you. The sunrise differs from region to region, and hence you can follow the tradition followed by the people of that region. And his next question, is God partial to females as they have the benefit of having their sexual desires fulfilled through God? And his detailed question is, dear Swami, my friend and I have read the answers you gave to the questions asked by Miss Trilokya on sweet devotion. We started discussing these topics and arrived at the following understanding. I would like to apologize for my misunderstanding of God and for coming up with these kinds of questions about sex. I feel deeply ashamed to ask questions like these, but sadly, you are the only one I trust to help me understand these difficult topics. Except, there is one except from the answer given by you, followed by a question on the same. So a part of answer from Swami's message is taken here. From the side of God, only fixed philosophy is to make all the souls happy who have turned towards Him, leaving all their worldly bonds. This is a thoroughly justified and most dignified philosophy of the love of the highest personality of God. This is part of the message of Swami. Now, from the complete for the complete answer, he has given the link also. Now, when God established a philosophy to make all souls happy, some benefits given to female souls make me feel that God has been partial to females as they have the benefit of having their sexual desires fulfilled through God, whereas males do not have such an opportunity. I kindly request you to clear up my misunderstanding about this. Swami replied, every female birth is not the final birth, but the final birth of any devoted soul is a female birth only. If the male birth is taken as a final birth, the masculine ego will not leave the soul as long as the masculine body exists around the soul, making the soul ineligible to attain complete salvation. In female birth, such a disadvantage is absent by the worth of the gender. Hence, if the final birth is the birth of a female, this favor to females by the virtue of gender will not exist. If the final birth is made male or female, this unnecessary distinction due to the gender comes into the picture that the female birth is favored by the spontaneous absence of masculine ego in the case of females. Such a distinction disappears when the final birth is the birth of a female in which the masculine ego is spontaneously absent for every soul, so that equal opportunity is given to all souls without the favor of any gender. Yeah, excellent. And his next question, can a woman approach the incarnation if she suffers from unfulfilled sexual desire leading to multiple sexual partners? His detailed question is, can a woman approach the contemporary human incarnation if she is suffering from unfulfilled sexual desire, which is leading her to seek multiple sexual partners? My friend is facing this issue, and though she knows it is a sin, she is unable to control her desire. When she read these answers, she became very excited and asked me if she could meet the contemporary Krishna, that is the human incarnation, to solve her problem. My friend is requesting your help to solve this issue. Swami replied, the human incarnation is not a call boy who can be engaged by paying some reasonable amount as Gurudakshina. The human incarnation is God who comes in human body to guide the devotees in proper spiritual path. The human incarnation is above the justified human life, that is pravrutti, and belongs to spiritual life, nivritti, which is beyond even justified life, that leads the soul to the eternal abode of God and not to a temporary heaven, that is the fruit for justified worldly life. The case referred by you belongs to the lower, in fact, the lowest level, that is Dushpravritti, that leads the soul to hell for punishments. My sincere advice to her is that the romantic ideas start from the mind, due to which the hormones become activated to increase the intensity of the lustful ideas. The root cause for lust is mind only. If she diverts her mind to God as much as possible, even the full control is possible. And the next question by him: don't you think the descriptions in the Gita Govindam, etc., are symbolic, referring to creative powers rather than literal anatomy? And his detailed question is: in one of your answers to a question about the Vishnu Sahasranamam and Lalita Sahasranamam, you said the following: males are not supposed to recite the Lalita Sahasranama Stotram because the beauty of the body of the Divine Mother is frequently described in it. A son should not recite the prayer describing the physical beauty of his mother. For the complete discourse, he has given the link also. Now, based on this, his question on the above concept is: texts like the Gita Govindam by Jayadeva, the Kama Sutra, and the other tantric and Puranic traditions describe private parts of gods. Don't you think these descriptions are often symbolic and metaphorical, referring to creative or generative powers rather than literal anatomy, as seen in the Lalita Sahasranama's references to the Divine Mother's creative essence? While the Lalita Sahasranama focuses on the spiritual aspects of the Divine Mother, other texts explore sensuality and the divine through more explicitly embodied or erotic imagery. Also, when God is not the biological father, he is not the real father. How can the goddess become the biological mother when God and goddesses are one unimaginable God? Similarly, when the goddess is not the biological mother, she is not the real mother. Then why shouldn't men recite the prayers Lalita Sahasranama Stotram and Saundarya Lahari Stotram, which describe the physical beauty of the goddess. Swami replied, in the Gita Govindam, the romance between Radha and Krishna is described. In Lalita Sahasranama prayer, the description of beauty of the Divine Mother is also given. Such description can be taken as the creative power of the Divine Mother, as told by you, by the female devotees. But when the case of male devotees comes, there is high possibility of distraction of mind to wrong side. There are only very few male devotees who can also take such description like female devotees. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa prayed the private part of a beautiful naked lady sent to test him as the source of creation by treating her as the Divine Mother. But every human soul is not of the standard of Sri Paramahamsa. Even the Vatsayana and Kama Sutra describes the union modes of a couple. Reading the description of the divine beauty of the Divine Mother is not good for male devotees who are not in the highest spiritual level of Sri Paramahamsa. Any trace of deviation of the mind of the devotee will destroy him completely. Some demons who expressed such thoughts to the Divine Mother were violently smashed by the Divine Mother. Parabrahman is unimaginable God, and in his case, the modification, that is parinama, cannot be logically established. Mahamaya, or the Divine Mother, is the unimaginable power of God, and she is also called as Karanamaya Shakti. This world is the product of the modification of the inert energy called as Karyamaya Shakti. Even though the process of generation of inert energy from the unimaginable power is also unimaginable, scholars like to call the unimaginable power or Mahamaya as the cause of inert energy instead of calling the unimaginable substratum or Parabrahman as the cause. Parabrahman and Mahamaya can be treated as the possessor of power and power, and both cannot be separated from each other since both are unimaginable items. We cannot say both as one or two when both are in the unimaginable state. The inability to isolate both can also result in the monism of both. Neither God nor God's power is a biological parent, but the indirect modification of the divine power or direct modification of inert energy can be assumed as the mother giving birth to a child, which is the modification of her flesh. It is an assumption based on modification. The divine power, Maya, is called as the root cause of the creation. Mayantu Prakrutam Vidhi, Gita. So here it is 8 o'clock. I will stop here for Bhakti Ganga. In the next Satsanga, I will repeat again all this. Namaskaram, Swami.
Namaste.
Namaskaram, Swami.
Namaste.
We shall start the bhajans now, Swami.
सागर लंघन संकुल वानर कुलमवलोक्य निज स्तुतिलोलम जलधर चुंबी महाकृतिरेक पदक्रम लंघित जलनिधिरेवं रघुपति मानंदयसि च सीता कुशल निवेदन कृतघन शोकं को न हि वेत्ति कपीश जगत्यति संकटमोचन नामत वेदम् अहिकुल बंधन मोहित दाशरथि द्वयमालोक्य मनोविकलं खगपति मानयसि स्म विकुण्ठा पुरगतमस्त्र विमोचन दक्षं पुनरायोधन बलिनं वहसि च भुजयुगरूढं सोदरयुग्मं को न हि वेत्ति कपीश जगत्यति संकटमोचन नामत वेदम् मूर्छित लक्ष्मण बोध समर्थ महौषधि संजीविलतां नेतुम् उत्पत शिक्षणमग्रिमुपानय स्मकरेण तमिव सुमगुच्छम् उत्थित लक्ष्मण करयुग वंदन मालिंग विहसंश्च सरागौ को न हि वेत्ति कपीश जगत्यति संकटमोचन नामत वेदम् शतमुख रावण हृत रघुनायक मंबाबलि पशु उपगत मोहं पुनरानयसि च तमसुरमपगत जीवं विधाय पातालेशं राघव शरमुध्वमुखं कृत्वा नम्रं हरसि च युधि दशकण्ठं को न हि वेत्ति कपीश जगत्यति संकटमोचन नामत वेदम् शृङ्खलया नियत शनैश्चरमपि मोचयसि स्म शुच सहसातं को मे सङ्कट इह हनुमन् गुरु सोदर मम वदया दीनं कथमपि योग्यो नाहमकारण करुणैव तव हि कारणमेकं को न हि वेत्ति कपीश जगत्यति संकटमोचन नामत वेद वानर सिंह खगेश वराह हयानन पंचानन शिवरूपं वैष्णव तिलकं भविष्य जगतां धातारं त्वां नमामि देवं त्रिमूर्तितत्त्वं साक्षात् दत्तं परमब्रह्म हि लीलादासं को न हि वेत्ति कपीश जगत्यति संकटमोचन नामत वेदम् हे कनकांशुक काञ्चन कुण्डल वन्दे त्वां हनुमन्तमनन्तं हे पिङ्गलाक्ष सद्गुणसागर मामव सततं मायामूढं हे मेरुगिरि समुज्ज्वल विग्रह पालय मां तव पदयुगलोलं को न हि वेत्ति कपीश जगत्यति संकटमोचन नामत वेदम् संकटमोचन हनुमद्देव महास्तुतिमेतां गायति नित्यं यो मनुजस्य समेति शतायु बलमारोग्यं तेजो धैर्यं शतशत संकट जालमपि क्षणमेव विनश्यति याति सतोषं को न हि वेत्ति कपीश जगत्यति संकटमोचन नामत वेदम् को न हि वेत्ति कपीश जगत्यति संकटमोचन नामत वेदम् को न हि वेत्ति कपीश जगत्यति संकटमोचन नामत वेदम् भज भज भास्कर कुलसञ्जातं रामं शार्ङ्गधनुर्धरमेतं निष्कामभक्ति तपसा क्रीतं ज्ञानाग्निवचन तेजश्शतं धर्मस्थापन लक्ष्यमुपेतं साक्षात् नारायणमायातं भज भज भास्कर कुलसञ्जातं रामं शार्ङ्गधनुर्धरमेतं वाल्मीकिसुकवि कवितागीतं स्वादर्शकथा गङ्गापूतं हनुमद्भुज पीठासन नीतं केवलसायक दशमुखपातं भज भज भास्कर कुलसञ्जातं रामं शार्ङ्गधनुर्धरमेतं पट्टाभिषेक सुरसमवेतं वामाङ्गासन सीताप्रीतं स्वचरितगायक कुशलवतातं सकलचराचर सूत्रप्रोतं भज भज भास्कर कुलसञ्जातं रामं शार्ङ्गधनुर्धरमेतं
सृजन्तं शासन्तं संहरन्तं जगन्ति सन्ततं चिन्तये श्रीदत्तं तं योगविद्या सच्चसारं बोधयन्तं सच्चदर्शनलालसान् आकर्षयन्तं मानवेभ्यो मानवाकृति प्रवतरन्तम् अष्टसिद्धिभिः रास्तिकत्वं प्रतिष्ठापयन्तं सृजन्तं शासन्तं संहरन्तं जगन्ति सन्ततं चिन्तये श्रीदत्तं तं
मूषिकन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल धौतदन्तायते चारुनृत्यायते विघ्नराजायते श्रीपार्वती प्राणपुत्राय वन्दनं सिद्धिबुद्धि प्राणनाथाय वन्दनं दक्षक्रतुन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोलतीक्ष्णखड्गायते श्मश्रुवक्त्रायते वीरभद्रायते श्रीकालिका प्राणनाथाय वन्दनं श्रीकालिका प्राणनाथाय वन्दनम् क्रौञ्चाचलन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल शक्तिभल्लायते षण्मुखाब्जायते तारकान्तायते वल्लीश्वरी प्राणनाथाय वन्दनं वल्लीश्वरी प्राणनाथाय वन्दनम् श्रीशैलविन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल कालशूलायते फालनेत्रायते भस्मवक्त्रायते भ्रमराम्बिका प्राणनाथाय वन्दनं भ्रमराम्बिका प्राणनाथाय वन्दनम् शबरिगिरिन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल मन्त्रमालायते हरिहरांशायते सुमणिकण्ठायते श्रीमोहिनी प्राणपुत्राय वन्दनं श्रीमोहिनी प्राणपुत्राय वन्दनम् सप्तशैलन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल केळिपद्मायते पद्मनेत्रायते पद्मवक्त्रायते पद्मासती प्राणनाथाय वन्दनं पद्मावती प्राणनाथाय वन्दनं प्राचेदिशिन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल शुक्लवेदायते अरुणबिम्बायते सूर्यदेवायते छाया सति प्राणनाधाय वन्दनं छाया सति प्राणनाधाय वन्दनम् गोवर्धनन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल चक्रवेगायते मकुटपिञ्छायते मधुरवंशायते राधासती प्राणनाथाय वन्दनं राधासती प्राणनाथाय वन्दनम् साकेतविन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल चारुचापायते सत्यवाक्यायते धर्मरूपायते सीतासती प्राणनाथाय वन्दनं सीतासती प्राणनाथाय वन्दनम् आकाशविन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल भूरिशैलायते रामकार्यायते भीमवीर्यायते सुवर्चला प्राणनाथाय वन्दनं सुवर्चला प्राणनाथाय वन्दनम् यज्ञान्तरन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल होमपात्रायते सप्तजिह्वायते द्रव्यवाहायते स्वाहा सति प्राणनाथाय वन्दनं स्वाहा सति प्राणनाथाय वन्दनम् ऐरावतन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल हेतिवज्रायते स्वर्गनाथायते देवराजायते शचीसती प्राणनाथाय वन्दनं शचीसती प्राणनाथाय वन्दनम् क्षीरार्णवन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल नागपाशायते विष्णुतल्पायते शेषदेवायते नागेश्वरी प्राणनाथाय वन्दनं नागेश्वरी प्राणनाथाय वन्दनम् वैकुण्ठविन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल पूर्णकुम्भायते विष्णुवाहायते गरुडराजायते विनताम्बिका प्राणपुत्राय वन्दनं विनताम्बिका प्राणपुत्राय वन्दनम् ब्रह्माण्डविन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल कालपाशायते दत्तदूतायते भैरवाख्यायते मायासती प्राणनाथाय वन्दनं मायासती प्राणनाथाय वन्दनम् सह्यशैलन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल बीजमालायते अरुणवस्त्रायते योगिराजायते अनघासति प्राणनाथाय वन्दनम् अनघासति प्राणनाथाय वन्दनम् अनघासति प्राणनाथाय वन्दनम् विजयपुरिन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल वेदशास्त्रायते ज्ञानसूर्यायते दत्तरूपायते श्रीवेणुगोपालकृष्णाय वन्दनम् श्रीवेणुगोपालकृष्णाय वन्दनम्
तृप्तास्मः मातः तृप्तास्मः मधुसूदनसति मङ्गलवती वात्सल्यामृतहर्षवर्षिणि रुक्मिणी वनमालि मनोवासिनी वन्दे विदर्भनन्दिनी वासुदेवानन्दसुन्दरी तृप्तास्मः मातः तृप्तास्मः अस्माकं सदने चरति तव चञ्चल किङ्किणीकचरणे सन्तत चिन्तामणिगण सन्तानदायिनि का चिन्ता तृप्तास्मः मातः तृप्तास्मः मधुसूदनसति मङ्गलवति तृप्तास्मः मातः तृप्तास्मः वन्देतिरम्यं विश्वैकगम्यं उन्मत्तदत्तं गुरुदेवं 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 वेदान्तसारं नानावतारं भक्तोपकारं भज दत्तं
वन्देतिरम्यं विश्वैकगम्यं उन्मत्तदत्तं गुरुदेवं गुरुदेवं गुरुदेवं
संसारपारं रुद्राक्षहारं निहारगौरं भज दत्तं निहारगौरं भज दत्तं
वन्देतिरम्यं विश्वैकगम्यं उन्मत्तदत्तं गुरुदेवं गुरुदेवं गुरुदेवं
काषाय चेलं पात्राक्षमालम् आम्नायमूलं भज दत्तं आम्नायमूलं भज दत्तं
वन्देतिरम्यं विश्वैकगम्यं उन्मत्तदत्तं गुरुदेवं गुरुदेवं गुरुदेवं
ज्वालाक्षिफालं ढक्कात्रिशूलं कण्ठाहि नीलं भज दत्तं कण्ठाहि नीलं भज दत्तं
वन्देतिरम्यं विश्वैकगम्यं उन्मत्तदत्तं गुरुदेवं गुरुदेवं गुरुदेवं
पादान्तचक्रं विच्छिन्ननक्रं श्रीशङ्खचक्रं भज दत्तं श्रीशङ्खचक्रं भज दत्तं
वन्देतिरम्यं विश्वैकगम्यं उन्मत्तदत्तं गुरुदेवं गुरुदेवं गुरुदेवं
कन्दर्परूपं सौन्दर्यदीपं योगीन्द्रभूपं भज दत्तं योगीन्द्रभूपं भज दत्तं
वन्देतिरम्यं विश्वैकगम्यं उन्मत्तदत्तं गुरुदेवं गुरुदेवं गुरुदेवं
मन्त्रात्मबीजं तन्त्रार्धभाजं श्रीयन्त्रराजं भज दत्तं श्रीयन्त्रराजं भज दत्तं
वन्देतिरम्यं विश्वैकगम्यं उन्मत्तदत्तं गुरुदेवं गुरुदेवं गुरुदेवं
याचे श्रीरामं तवास्मीति याचे श्रीरामं श्रीरामं रघुरामं कल्याणरामं पट्टाभिरामं पावनरामं याचे श्रीरामं तवास्मीति याचे श्रीरामं शरणं भव शरणं भव शरणं भव श्रीराम करुणां कुरु करुणां कुरु करुणां कुरु रघुराम याचे श्रीरामं तवास्मीति याचे श्रीरामं तनुविजितकामं हतदितिजस्तोमं नवजलदश्यामं मैथिलीवामं याचे श्रीरामं तमस्मीति याचे श्रीरामं हनुमदर्चितं भरतपूजितं लक्ष्मणवन्दितं शत्रुघ्नसत्कृतं सीतासेवितं याचे श्रीरामं तवास्मीति याचे श्रीरामं दशरथात्मजं विपुलाक्षिवारिजं एकशिरीमुख हतदशमुखभाजं याचे श्रीरामं तवास्मीति याचे श्रीरामं हंसारोपितदिव्यशर्ङ्गकोदण्डम् आत्मनव्याप्तचराचरजगदण्डं याचे श्रीरामं तवास्मीति याचे श्रीरामं गौतमसती शिलाशाप विमोचनं शान्तविलोकनान्त करुणामृतसेचनं याचे श्रीरामं तवास्मीति याचे श्रीरामं बालशरदाम्भोधरांशुरोचनं स्फुरत्तरुणमीनायतविलोचनं याचे श्रीरामं तवास्मीति याचे श्रीरामं
वेदनायक दत्त पादमाश्रये वेदनायक दत्त पादमाश्रये वेदनायक दत्त पादमाश्रये वेदनायक दत्त पादमाश्रये आश्रित प्राणिनां सद्यः खादिताखिल खेदम् आश्रित प्राणिनां सद्यः खादिताखिल खेदम् ज्ञानप्रदानेन हृदय मे दुरितमोदम् ज्ञानप्रदानेन हृदय मे दुरितमोदम् वेदनायक दत्त पादमाश्रये वेदनायक दत्त पादमाश्रये न्यासमात्रेणैव नाशित नास्तिकवादम् न्यासमात्रेणैव नाशित नास्तिकवादम् नखकान्तिकिरणैरनाद्य विद्याभेदम् नखकान्तिकिरणैरनाद्य विद्याभेदम् वेदनायक दत्त पादमाश्रये 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 धरती पर भक्तों
दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्ता त्रिमूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
प्रज्ञान स्वामी का है मोक्षकारी, नष्ट करे सारे अवगुण हमारे। जितनी भी चाहे हो इच्छा हमारी, फिर भी न छोड़ा हमें बेसहारे।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्ता त्रिमूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
अहम में डूबे हम मनुष्य सारे, करते तिरस्कार प्रभु का हमारे। प्रेम से प्रभु सहते आरोप सारे, फिर भी हमें स्वामी गले लगावे।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्ता त्रिमूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
अहम सोया बिन दत्ता को ध्यावे, अत्रियन सोया वही मानव होवे। अंत समय में जो दत्ता पुकारे, पुत्र समान दत्ता दौड़े आवे।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्ता त्रिमूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
छोड़े छूटे ना जो बंधन संसारी, बंधन छूटे जो पकड़े प्रीत तुम्हारी। चाहूं ना धन वैभव ना मुक्ति ही प्यारी, तुमरी भक्ति स्वामी संपत्ति हमारी।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्ता त्रिमूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
यथाशक्ति यथ भक्ति चरण आरंभिक, कर्म संन्यास कर प्रेम निर्धारित। कर्म फल त्याग कर भक्ति प्रमाणित, दोनों करे सो कर्मयोगी हो साबित।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्ता त्रिमूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
अमृत वचन स्वामी का नैया है पारे, सुन ले मन तू हो जा स्वामी का प्यारे। स्वामी बिन है पैर पंगुम हमारे, स्वामी भजना हरे पीड़ा हमारी।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्ता त्रिमूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
तुम रहो दाता सदा मैं रहूं सदा याचक, तुम रहो सदा मालिक और मैं रहूं सदा सेवक। काहू को डरना जब तुम हो मेरे रक्षक, तुम्हारी सेवा में ही जीवन मेरा सार्थक।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्ता त्रिमूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
मनमोहक अति सुंदर अत्यंत प्यारी, आनंदाई स्वामी छवि तुम्हारी। दर्शन मात्रे तृप्त आत्मा हमारी, दृष्टि स्वामी की है चमत्कारी।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्ता त्रिमूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
परिपूर्णतम साक्षात परब्रह्म स्वामी, वेदों से परे वेद सार है स्वामी। अनूह्य अवतारी अचिंत्य स्वामी, मनुष्य अवतारी परब्रह्म स्वामी।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्ता त्रिमूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियेवा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात्, करोमि यद्यत् भक्त्यानन्या। श्री दत्त स्वामिने समर्पयामि, श्री दत्त स्वामिने समर्पयामि, श्री दत्त स्वामिने समर्पयामि।
परब्रह्म समारंभां श्रीदत्तात्रेय मध्यमां श्रीदत्तस्वामी पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरु परंपरां। सर्वविश्वन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल वेदशास्त्रायते। ज्ञानसूर्यायते दत्तरूपायते। श्रीवेणुगोपाल कृष्णाय वन्दनम्। श्रीवेणुगोपाल कृष्णाय वन्दनम्। श्रीवेणुगोपाल कृष्णाय वन्दनम्। गुरुदत्त श्रीदत्त प्रभुदत्त पाहि माम्। विधिदत्त हरिदत्त हरदत्त रक्ष मां पाहि मां दत्त रक्ष मां दत्त. స్వామి నమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే
పాదనమస్కారం స్వామి.
పాదనమస్కారం స్వామీజీ.
నమస్తే
పాదనమస్కారం స్వామీజీ.
నమస్తే నమస్తే
నమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే నమస్తే
నమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే
నమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే నమస్తే
పాదనమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే
పాదనమస్కారం స్వామి.
పాదనమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే
పాదనమస్కారం స్వామి. పాదనమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే నమస్తే
నమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే నమస్తే
నమస్కారం స్వామి.
పాదనమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే నమస్తే
పాదనమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే నమస్తే
నమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే నమస్తే
నమస్కారం
నమస్తే నమస్తే
పాదనమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే నమస్తే నమస్తే
నమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే నమస్తే
స్వామి.
నమస్తే
నమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే నమస్తే
పాదనమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే నమస్తే
పాదనమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే నమస్తే నమస్తే
పాదనమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే నమస్తే
పాదనమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే నమస్తే
Is anyone left to offer prayers to Swami?
పాదనమస్కారం స్వామి.
నమస్తే
స్వామి. నమస్కారం.
నమస్తే
Pada Namaskaram Swami.
నమస్తే
उद्वेगरहिता संतोषरहिता शांति समुद्रा श्री दत्ता. शांति समुद्रा श्री दत्ता. शांति समुद्रा श्री दत्ता. ओम शांति शांति शांति.